Can I ask you something? All these memories and timelines. How do you decide what's real? Look around, figure out what you believe is true right now, and just commit to it.
Little quick connection, quick little download. Quick because I could spend a lifetime, well, not even say a lifetime, it wouldn't take that much to explain this. But to explain it in depth, yeah, you could take a lifetime. But basically, how Turtle Island is more than just America, you know. And it's not to knock people who, say, oh, this is Turtle Island, this is Turtle Island. But just showing the evidence of how Turtle Island could be the whole planet Earth. You know what I'm saying? Or even all the worlds, to be honest with you. You know, and I'm connected to, ancient cosmology to the point where now you could say that the ancient cosmology is false. Like, the ancestors and ancient people had this wrong or whatever. You could come from that notion if you wanted to, in essence. But, it's all interconnected. So first you got, again, not going into depth, but you got in Chinese mythology, you got the Dragon King and his 9 sons. And of course, throughout different mythologies, they place importance on 9 or 8 gods or deities, Matter of fact, with Tao, or the Tao, and the matter of fact, speaking of the Tao, I-ching, the hexagrams for the I-ching was said to be found on a turtle's back. You feel me? So that's gonna add to even what I'm speaking to as well. This information, all this knowledge, all this wisdom of the whole world, or of this world, is placed on the back of a turtle. And that was the hexagrams for the I-ching. And basically the hexagrams, or should I say trigrams and hexagrams, but more so trigrams. There's trigrams, basically 3 lines, and then that goes into the hexagrams, which is 6 lines. But not to go too far, the I-ching found on a turtle's back. So this knowledge comes from off of a turtle's back. All of that. And usually when we talk about knowledge, sometimes you heard the terminology, man, all that knowledge, man, that's heavy, man. Or, that's deep. Either that's deep when it comes to knowledge, or, man, that's some heavy knowledge you got there, man. So we don't just say that for, any reason. But here you got the dragon-headed Bixie. And notice Bixie got, like, this big-ass stone on his back, And when we talk about stones or crystals, crystals have nothing but information in them as well. But he carrying this big stone on his back. And Bixie is basically a dragon turtle. So he's a dragon in essence with a turtle shell. And you see another picture on the bottom right here. So Bixie, Pinyin, Bixie, a Bishi, because XI is like chi in essence when you pronounce it with from the Japanese or Chinese way of expressing it. I don't want to throw it off, but the eldest son was often depicted as a dragon tortoise. The hard shell of the turtle represents resilience, toughness, also longevity and good fortune. Longevity. You know what I'm saying? Been there for a long time. Resilience, because you got to be resilient to carry all of that weight on your back. You feel me? To hold up multiple worlds, you got to be really resilient. You know what I'm saying? Got to be tough. Bi-chi can be often seen at the bottom of pillars and building foundations. Also there, holding up the foundation, holding up the pillars, holding up the buildings, you feel me? And, for those of us into Mario, recognize this character, Koopa, King Koopa, was Bowser, basically is the turtle dragon, or Bishi. Bishi is a figure from Chinese mythology, one of the 9 sons of the Dragon King. He is depicted as a dragon with the shell of a turtle. Stone sculptures of Bishi have been used in Chinese culture for centuries as a decorative plinth for commemorative steles or stills and tablets, particularly in the funerary complexes of its later emperors. So they also place these things around funerary complexes, which is going to kind of segue into a Anantashisha connection. Now, Anantashisha is known as the database of the universe, you know what I'm saying? Basically like a hard drive for the universe with all this information that he's holding on top of his hoods. He's also, again, the multiple-headed snake that Vishnu sits on. He holds up Vishnu. No coincidence that Vishnu is seen as the aspect of God out of the Trinity of God, which is in essence in Hindu mythology is Brahman, Vishnu, Shiva, as far as the masculine aspect part of it. But Vishnu is known as the sustainer, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, actually life, you know, being and being sustained, you know, not the creation of life or not the transitioning or quote unquote death of life, but basically the sustenance of life. In essence, like the world, you know what I'm saying? Like, although there are things that technically are created and that transition in this world, ultimately it's constantly sustained. You feel me? So Anantashisha, you know, holding up the world from that perspective. Again, in the Puranas, Shisha or Shisha Naga, you know, and they go to Naga aspect. And again, more so associated with a dragon and in essence almost like a water dragon. Hence, you see the connection with the turtle. It could have been any kind of other animal, you know, with a shell. But it was, or should I say any kind of other, you know, like it could have just been a dragon by itself or whatever the case may be, but it was a dragon with a turtle shell, and turtles, you know, come from out of the water. So Shisha Naga is believed to hold all the planets of the universe on his vast hoods. All the planets, not just America. And in this case, they're not even saying not just Earth, but all the planets, all the locas, all the worlds. You know, all those tourist fields, all those worlds. You know what I'm saying? All those whirlwinds, you know. Anantashisha, the snake bed of Vishnu. Now, when we talk about, and that's why I kind of like, you know, Vedic astrology a little more than Western, because they have like the mythological stories. I feel like they kind of have like a deeper and more authentic or more truthful, you know, expression of stories in it, you know. But Uttara Bhadrapada is the 26th nakshatra. It's located in Pisces, you know. Pisces is the fish from out of the water, you know, and in essence, like, again, almost like a dragon and not necessarily a fish, you know. And that goes back to, again, the videos I done, you know, spoke on the dragons and the shining ones and the connection with scales, and the scales and fish, you know, being similar, you know what I'm saying? Because in essence, it's like a dragon, you know what I'm saying? Like the movie Shang-Chi from Marvel, you know what I'm saying? With a dragon, he was swimming underwater just as much as he was flying. And the deity associated with the Tower of Bhadrapada is Ahir I'm gonna say it a little wrong, but Ahir Bhutyana. But that's basically Anantashisha. You know, and I say that I'm just making it up, basically. Like, you know, when you look at it, you know, it's Anantashisha. You know, the serpent of the deep waters. You feel me? Characteristics, inner strength, depth. You know, in the depths, I did the video on Pisces and a 9 to 5. You know, that video breaking down the etymology of Pisces and how it basically, tells the mythological or cosmological story within it, just going deep into that cosmology. Spiritual growth, conjugal bliss, strength, and prosperity. Because some people consider prosperity, having a lot of knowledge, in that sense. But again, that's kind of subjective because, if you had to carry the weight of the world or the weight of all of that knowledge, it depends on whose perspective that's coming from, on whether that's a beautiful, prosperous thing or whether that's something miserable, you know what I'm saying? Then the ruling planet of this nakshatra is Saturn. And Saturn associated with depth and spiritual discipline. And Saturn deals with cause and effect or karma, or basically like keeping a log, keeping the information of cause and effect. Like over all these years, this action happened and then this came afterwards. You know what I'm saying? Like the Santa Claus naughty or nice list. You feel me? It's like, all the ancestors, all the, the Akashic records, you know what I'm saying? Like keeping up with all that. Well, it says here that your great grandmother killed 9 of her children and she didn't reconcile, so now that's on you. You know what I'm saying? Like keeping a record, you know what I'm saying? All that information. And then the symbolism, the back legs of a funeral cot, completely different again. Anatashisha or Ahir Bhutnya in this, spelling and representation, but the same symbolic connections. Again, the back legs of a funeral cot. Also peace, rest, and stability. Stability. You know what I'm saying? The whole of the foundation. As far as Bishi, you know what I'm saying? The dragon turtle, you know what I'm saying? Or King Cooper, all correlated. And then I done showed y'all this picture before, but you see at the bottom of all the lokas are different worlds, you know what I'm saying? You got, and from this perspective or this cosmology, again, it ain't just Earth. You feel me? You got, like, again, this loka, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And no coincidence that in the Book of the Dead, you know what I'm saying, speaking to the underworld, they talk of 7 realms or 7 portals in the, the underworld or the other world. You feel me? Not nothing good or bad, you know what I'm saying? Because we come from deep within our mother's womb, you know what I'm saying? From those depths. Ananta Shisha holding all that up, you know what I'm saying? And this part considered like, again, like the earthly realm. And then the higher, you got Mount Meru, or like the pole. And then you got these higher lokas up here, you know what I'm saying? Or the upper lokas, as they say. So, with all that to say that, when we say Turtle Island is just America, that may be a subtle misnomer, or it may be, and we all done been, guilty of this at some part of our growth, where we possibly done repeated something that we just hear everybody say without researching, But, Turtle Island is more than just America, you feel me? In essence, it would be like the whole world, because in essence, it's like when you look at it from this picture, here, it's like, shit, this is one whole island. Oh, wait, that's one whole little island right there. You feel me? And Nanta Shisha holding all of that up. So just something to consider, or to research, on your own time before we go to, Again, Turtle Island is just America. Turtle Island is just America. Even myself, I haven't been a part of that. What's funny is researching and knowing of all these other parts, but what just came to me more so was the connections you know, uh, with the I-ching and the Tao and Chinese mythology. I feel like that's what kind of added the extra scope to it, and just was like that final domino to make it like, oh, all right, I see how this all connect. You know, there's always this little notion with some type of dragon slash turtle from the deep waters holding all of this information, or holding something on his back, what I'm saying, holding the foundation of the world, what I'm saying, holding all of this information, because also tying into the fact that, the earthly plane is, another word for it is a matrix, what I'm saying, being in like a simulation of binary codes, ones and zeros, are in essence yin and yang. That's why I'm starting to peep I-ching a lot more, because I'm like, whoa, this kind of got the ancient cosmology connections, and it kind of gives credence to the fact of it being like a matrix, and the different codes, what I'm saying, telling a story as well, because also, like I was saying earlier, Bishi, Bishi, let's go to the name, Bichi, is one of 9 sons of the Dragon King. And again, there's always this, these 8 main, gods. And in most cases is 8 main gods, because the 9th one, in essence, is like the primordial no thing type of energy. You feel me? Just like the Tao or the Tao, Tao is considered like, like the no thing in that sense, or Wu, it's nothing. It's like that's the 9th aspect, what I'm saying. And in Chinese mythology, what I'm saying, you got the 8 immortals, and the 8 immortals are basically like the first 8 trigrams, and those 8 trigrams are basically like the foundation of, the hexagrams for doing the divination with the I-ching. So you see how all that connects. But I'm gonna just simply leave it at that, to just say again, Turtle Island may be more than just Turtle Island may be more than just America, you feel me? So just definitely want to share that with y'all. Now's the vibrate. Peace.